You guys know that record Despacito? Justin Bieber and So if you read the history on that record, so Justin was in Ibiza for his birthday or something, or somewhere out there, and he heard this record and he called his manager like, we should really do a remix to this record. So his manager was like, find all the information, let's reach out to everybody. I mean, it's Justin Bieber, you can talk to anybody. So I think it was like Louis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee, whoever was on the record with him, whatever, they reached out, they decided to do this thing. So now what you have to do is you have to take that original record and repackage it in a new split sheet, right? Because now you have Justin on there, you have new writers on there, you have 2 other artists on there, whatever. So now everybody has to figure out new splits, and then they have to register it and get it out there. That record's been streamed over 3 billion times. I think actually maybe 4 billion at this point. That means there's over 700 billion micro transactions. You take the fact that there's 39 different collection agencies out there, right? So because the fact that they left certain people off the split sheet, there's about a couple $1 million sitting on the table waiting for people to fill out the actual splits. They couldn't agree on certain splits. So now that money's being held in like this escrow. And nowadays there's like a 5-year, I think it used to be 7, now I think it's 5, where you can't, like after 5 years, if it doesn't get fixed, that money gets added into the rest of your PRO and distributed to everybody else. So you just have to be aware of, how important it is to fill out those split sheets. And Jamber's.
So you said that website was jamber.com?
Yeah, jamber.com.
Yeah, you can go to the website, or you can download it in your app store on your phone. I just put it in the chat so everybody has it. It's jamber.com right there.
Yeah, I got that thing. It works, man. It really works.
Yeah, it's really like non-intrusive, because you figure like you're in the studio all the time, right? We're on our phones. Me talking to you via text versus pulling out a white sheet of paper, and then you might lose that paper, and you might. So it is what it is.
I got a question.
Sure.
What if you like find the person on YouTube, you find the beat? What's the difference between leasing it and buying the beat straight off?
Good point. So there's a lot of websites out there, and YouTube is really, I would say, the leader. Like a lot of times what'll happen is people will actually download or rip an instrumental off of YouTube, may not even contact the producer, and then they try to get it out there on their own, and it just turns into a mess. But there's websites like BeatStars, Airbit Official, which allow you to actually go to the site and non-exclusively lease the beat from a creator, right? And what happens is that creator, because it's a non-exclusive license, let's say you want to lease the beat, anybody can lease that beat. There could be 150 artists with that same beat out there. There's BeatStars, BEA. I'm gonna put it on in the chat.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
So BeatStars and Airbit. Yeah, and for any producers on the check-in right here, this is a great platform for you, because you could actually customize agreements with individual people. So it could be based on
what up, bro?
It could be based on like how many views the record has on YouTube, or it could be it's not exclusive for a year, and then you have first dibs on buying it if you want it. Or because what happens if that record pops off? Right now, you have 100 other people using that same exact beat.
Right.
You want to own that beat. So you're taking a chance when you lease something versus straight out buy it out, because you never know virally what could happen. You look at so BeatStars.com. That's where Young Keo was at when Lil Nas X found his record.
What up?
You know what I'm saying? Now this guy turned into $1 billion, $100 million artist in less than 3 years. And this kid, Young Keo, got a massive publishing deal. We only bought the beat for like $35.
So wait, multiple people can lease at the same beat at the same time.
Non-exclusively, a lease, yes.
Then the beat is just yours, and you can cancel out anybody who uses it.
Yeah, if you want to buy it right out, you have to purchase that, and then the masters are yours.
So
can I just say something real quick?
Some contracts when you lease it and when you buy it.
Say that again?
Is it different contracts when you lease it and when you buy it, or is it the same contract?
Yeah, no, it's totally different. I mean, the terms are totally different. When you buy it, it's yours. When you lease it, it's only temporary.
Hey, yo, Hatch, the new single that I got out with my sons, the Hoffs, I got a single out with them called Every Single Day. I don't know if anyone here heard it before, but I actually brought that beat straight out from Ron G.
Okay.
The legendary producer, Ron G. I brought it from him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you know, sometimes if you're going to put a lot of effort and time into your records, or if you're just going to throw them out there, there's a really big, you know, difference. And sometimes you can get with the right producer and not have to pay, you know, if they like your music or they want to work with you on a larger scale. You know, leasing is always a challenge, especially if the producer collaborates. There's been so, you know, my attorney always tells me horror stories about how, like, when a new artist, you know, gets a beat non-exclusively and then the label wants to buy it, but then all of a sudden they've already sold it to somebody else, or they have to now remake the beat, or they're not talking to the co-producer anymore, or, you know, so it's just,
that's how that Bobby Smurder shit happened with Lloyd Banks.
Yeah. All that.
So Jay, my question for you.
Ooh, can I say something real quick on the same topic?
Yeah.
Something that I've done. I don't know if y'all gotten beats off YouTube. On my first project, I got some beats from about 50% of the beats were from YouTube, but then a YouTube series wanted to pick up like 2 of the songs, right? And so she sent me the paperwork to sign, and you know, I was kind of like, let me see if I can get in contact with the producer. But the producer was some random person off of YouTube. And so I sent back, I went through my email, because it was a quick, and I got my stuff from BeatStar, but it's still like, who is this person?
Right.
Couldn't find the Instagram, couldn't find the Twitter handle, couldn't find the email. And so I kind of missed out on an opportunity because I didn't really know that person. Yeah. So from my experience on YouTube and from leasing beats, I'm not really a fan of leasing beats. It's going to cost you more to own it, but then it's yours.
Yeah, that's right. That shit.
That's a fact.
When somebody wants to pick it up, you can say, okay, you know what, I own maybe the engineer and the producer have 40% and you got 60%, but it's yours. When you lease it, you got all these stipulations, all these guidelines that you have to follow. It's gonna cost you more, but I really feel like it's an investment. And my suggestion is to just buy from somebody that you know. I feel like we all know producers. There's a million producers that we know personally that we've met that I feel like you don't gotta really go through YouTube.
You also have to be careful too when buying beats if somebody's using a sample.
Yes,
you know,
that's a problem now.
Well, it's always been a problem. There's a couple of new ways around it. But for instance, if let's say again, who we got on here? We got so let's say my man Notes over here, right? He's a producer, and then Don Rico wants to buy a beat from him, but it's got a sample in it from like anybody. Let's say it's just Bill Withers. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, you know, he wants to buy it from him, and Note says, all right, the beat's going to cost $500. Don's like, all right, cool, that's dope. I like the beat. I'm going to put it out, whatever. Now, the problem here is if it's a commercial release and that sample's not cleared, we have a problem here, especially if there's going to be any money made on it. You know, there's infringements, there's copyrights, all that kind of stuff. Now, if, let's say, for instance, Don would sign to like Universal Records, and then he bought that beat off of Notes. What would happen is that there would be a clause in that contract stating that the producer would have to, I would say 99% of the times, the producer would have to eat that sample, meaning that they would have to take whatever percentage of, like let's say Bill Withers wanted 40% of that record. He would take that much out of what Notes owns. So now, like, the splits are all different, number one. Right. Number two, Notes won't see another dollar of money from that beat until the label recoups on that 40% or whatever you know the situation is. So just have to be really careful when that. But now let me put you up on some more game though. I'm gonna put it in the chat for producers. Tracklib.com. Producers that love the sample, go to tracklib.com. What you can do is actually download samples directly from there that are real records, real samples, and you can download them for like $1.99, and then you put them, you know, loop them in a beat, whatever case it be, use pieces of it, and then you can clear that beat. You can clear that sample for as low as $50.
Okay.
Now you could also let's say Notes decided to use a sample from Tracklib. He cleared it on his own for $50. Now Don says, yeah, okay, I'll buy the $500 beat. Cool, that's what it is. Now there's a license attached to that beat allowing Don Rico to put it out because there's a clearance license attached to it. So now you don't have to worry about it. So you could actually make beats using samples in Tracklib and sell them with the license and not have to worry about getting, you know, hurt on the back end because somebody will say, well, that's my sample. Nah, I already have a license, dog. We good.
So is it that every sample that's on Tracklib can be cleared?
Absolutely, every single one of them. They're all pre-cleared, and then there's different licenses. It's like an A, B, and C. I think A is like 2,500, B is like 500, and C is like $50.
Okay.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
If the samples are royalty free, that means you could use it in your original composition, right?